Everyone, we have Drew Brees. Questions will go in the chat, and I'll call on you. First question's from Sean Fazend.
Hey, Drew, the 2-minute drill before halftime. I mean, just how big was that drive? You guys had fallen behind at that point, but to get that drive right before halftime, how big was that?
Yeah, listen, in the grand scheme of things, that was a huge drive. This was one of those games where both offenses were doing a great job of staying on the field, converting third downs, eating up the clock. I mean, I think each one of our drives on both sides were anywhere from, 8, 10, 12, 14 plays, So I think when you look back on it, I think we really only had 6 pretty meaningful drives in this game, with the exception of, the last one where you're just trying to run the clock out. So, those are very few scoring opportunities. So, man, every chance we got to score, we need to put points on the board. So 2-minute drive, we go down, and to be able to get 7 points as opposed to 3, obviously in kind of dramatic fashion there with those last couple plays, that ends up being a huge turning point in the game.
Next one's from Jeff Duncan.
Hey, Drew, you all dominated time of possession. Third down conversions were really high. Earlier this year, you said you all were just scratching the surface of what your potential could be. Where do you think you're at now?
Well, listen, obviously the first 7 weeks here or 6 weeks have been challenging, just in various ways. We've had injuries at times where, young guys have had to step up. Obviously, we've, been without Michael Thomas here for, going on 5 games. Emmanuel, being out this game, young guys having to step up and really take on a role where, hey, they're going to be expected to step in and need to really be able to contribute. And I can't say enough about guys like Marquez Callaway and the job that he did today and really just stepping in Mike's stead. Obviously, Traquan Smith, who is a mainstay, but, man, we've asked him to do so much stuff. Obviously, the guys up front, with having some injuries at times and young guys need to step in or just kind of, fill the void. I think that it's just been one of those deals where, man, each week it's finding a different way to win. Each week it's finding different guys that are having to step up and contribute in ways that maybe they haven't in the past. And yet, man, it's what we need to win the game. And so I can't say enough about just guys' resolve and resilience to be able to do that. And, listen, these last 2 games especially, where it's coming down to the wire, it's coming down to the last drive and just finding ways to make the plays to win the game.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
Drew, how much do you play personally in that role when you know that by Thursday that Emmanuel's going to be out and by Friday that Mike's going to be out and you're working with guys who weren't part of the game plan when you guys were putting that together on Wednesday?
Yeah, listen, I'll be honest, it's difficult, because you got to sit there and look at the call sheet and you got to look at, the personnel groupings and figure out how you're going to piece it all together. And at the end of the day, put them in the best positions to succeed, right? And it all goes with my thought process too, is kind of knowing where guys are, knowing the little things that I can do throughout the course of the game to help them, right? To instill confidence in them, to allow them to play fast. Again, I just can't say enough about the job that those guys did stepping up and having the games that they did.
Next one's from Mike Triplett.
Drew, sort of a 2-parter. Where does this one rank among the wrinkles you guys have faced this year? Losing the guy who had just caught 12 passes in your last game on a Thursday night after so deep into the install. And then how important is a game like this? Because it does feel like probably your cleanest offensive performance of the season, something I know you guys have been striving toward.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, we strive for efficiency. We want to have great balance, play complementary football. And I felt like we possessed the ball really well. Obviously, the third downs were crucial because that allows you to stay on the field. What I liked was there was a lot of third and short situations, so you get in a third manageable by being good on first and second down, taking advantage of, those short completions or, man, that run play that's going to get you 3 or 4 yards. Those are good, positive plays. Those set you up for success on third down. We got in a couple third and long situations based on penalty or what have you, and we're able to overcome a few of those, which was obviously huge too because those drives resulted in points. But listen, anytime you don't punt and you're either scoring touchdowns or kicking field goals, that's a good thing.
Next one's from Nick Underhill.
Drew, that third down from Alvin where he kept his foot in and managed to stretch over. Is there things about his body control that surprised you, or is that stuff expected at this point?
No, I mean it's always pretty amazing. Throughout the course of the game, you probably don't appreciate it just because you're on to the next play, But when you go back and look at it, there's not many guys, if any, that can do some of the things that he does.
Next one's from Amy Just.
What was your vantage point on that late field goal? I mean, Marcus Davenport, if that sack would have been, 2 yards shorter, that might have gone through.
Listen, so when they say it's a game of inches, right, or a game of feet, it really truly is. So just that was obviously a huge play by him to set them back and give them that long field goal. When it came off his foot, it was tracking. So glad it fell short. Glad we were able to get the first down, win the game.
Next one's from Ricardo Lecomte.
Hey, Drew. In that fourth quarter, when Teddy got to the sideline and took a seat between you and Taysom, what was that exchange like? And the follow-up on the second question, just I know you're on the sideline when he's going, but just how he played and how he managed the day. And when you're looking at the stats between you and Bridgewater, you pretty much were two similar guys out there today.
Yeah, you know what? That was just so fitting of Teddy's personality, right? He had to run a long way to take that seat, So, and he knew exactly where we were sitting, right? Me and Taysom. So, popping in between us, I kind of handed him the surface, saying, "Hey, what do you see?" But no, man, we nothing but love for Teddy. And listen, he's a great quarterback. He's an efficient quarterback. I think like you said, you look at the statistics. And what was he, 23 to 28, highly efficient, and tons of completions, taking care of the football, taking advantage of the opportunities when they presented themselves down the field. So can't say enough about it.
Next one's from Rod Walker.
Hey, Drew, I was going to ask you about Teddy too, but I'll ask you about the fans. What was it like just having 3,000 fans in here? Did you notice a difference?
Yeah, we got some Who Dat chants going. It was good. Obviously great to have fans in the building. Would love it if we could have some more. That'd be great. Be great for the team. Certainly the defense would appreciate it. Get some crowd noise in there. Get this place rocking like it should.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
Hey, Drew, just considering who you guys were missing and the kind of late stuff added to the game plan and all that, how important was it to go out there and go on a 14-play 10-minute drive to start this game and just kind of set the tone early?
Yeah, again, it was good and it was efficient, and there was a couple third downs in that drive, maybe 3 or 4. So, just everybody doing their job and execution. Great way to start the game, possess it for quite a bit of time, and come out of it with 7 points.
That wraps it up. Thank you, Drew.
I guess.
All right, we have Thomas Morstead. Put your questions in the chat, and I'll call on you.
You guys don't have anything for me?
Well, after.
I'm really sore.
Well, you got to watch. You got to watch the whole game. What were your thoughts on it?
Look, when as long as we're not turning the ball over, I'm great not playing except for holding. So always tell the offense as long as our drives are ending in special teams plays, whether it's a punt, field goal, or an extra point, we'll win a lot of games doing that. So anyways, I'm just playing a joke on Drew. I came to give him his brownies. So appreciate it.
See you, Thomas.